Welcome to EmployeeConnect. In this video, we will show you how to run and set up your engagement survey through the Communications module in EmployeeConnect. To access the engagement survey settings, click Advanced from the top menu and then click on Communication. This brings up the communication page. Look at the side menu from the left and click Engagement. To go through the engagement or pulse survey, click on Engagement on the side menu and then click Survey Setup. This opens up a page that lists all of the existing surveys that you've already set up on EmployeeConnect. You can add a new survey from here, or we could do one from scratch. We can set up the pillars that you'll be tracking your question scores against by clicking on the Pillars button. We are now seeing the pillars listed on the page. We can edit all of the existing ones here, but since we're creating a new one, for example, we can just create a new set of pillars that will match all of the requirements that we need based on the survey that we'll be sending out to our candidates or our people within the organization. To create a new pillar, just scroll down and then look for the plus button. Click on the plus button to set up a new pillar. Again, this can be anything that you're tracking your questions against, the scores against. So we have a long list of examples here. This can be deleted if you have them defaulted on your platform. So that's just the ID. You can just copy that over and then paste it again, and then hit the check button to save it. Once we set up the survey, we'll be seeing those pillars available, and then we can pick them from the list. If you've already set this up and you just want to add it or modify a different one, or an existing one, then just click on the arrow button here, which is the edit button essentially, and then proceed with modifying the name. Again, click the plus button, the check button, to save the changes. Now that we've shown you how to create a new pillar, let's go back and create a new survey. You can click engagement again or just go back using the breadcrumbs. So we're navigating back to survey setup. All right, this is the survey setup page that we've shown you earlier. You can edit the existing survey, or you can create one from scratch by clicking the Add New button found here at the bottom of the table. The engagement survey form will be displayed. We have 4 tabs available and shown here: Survey, Layout, Participants, and Questions. The Survey tab allows you to customize the survey itself, involving inputting a name, and then a description that will give them a brief overview of what the survey is for. And then the start date or an end date, which is optional. Enabled true or false. This basically allows you to make the survey active or not. So if you want this to be used, then make sure to set it to true. If you want this to be a recurring survey, then you can set this up. You have a few options here: daily, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, and quarterly. You can set it using those settings that we see here. Send count would be the number of questions that you'll be sending out using the pulse. So if you want them to send 2 questions and then 3 or 4, you can set it up here. If you want to just blast the entire survey out to the participants, then just leave this blank. You can set up when to start sending this out by clicking on a date on the calendar picker, and you can set up a time when to send it out on that date. So that will be the start date of when the survey will be sent out to your participants. Recycle button allows you to, um, how do we say that? So let's say you have a few questions here, 10 questions that you're sending out, and then they get to the end of the very last question. Recycle allows you to go back to the first and then essentially start the cycle again of sending all of those questions. So if you want that to be a recurring question and the question to be sent out after they've already went through the entire list, then just check the recycle button and that will set it up for you. Let's then view the layout tab. Click layout. This would be the header for your survey. This would appear on the top of the form when they open the survey. They can open this up using a web browser or on a mobile, and it will appear on the top of the form. Confirmation would be the message that they'll be seeing after they completed answering the form and submitting their scores. Subject, this will just be the subject of your email that you'll be sending out to the participants. And then body is pretty self-explanatory, which will be the content of that email message they'll be receiving from you or from when you send the survey. Let's then navigate into the participants tab. So the participants tab allows you to select the people who will be receiving this survey. You have the option of setting a scope here. For example, let's click on the plus button to see that. You can send this to a specific category, groups I mean, or to everyone. Let's see the samples that we have. So I click on the plus button. Do I want to send it to a specific profile? If I'm managing or I have different companies here, company 1, 2, 3, I can list that. And then I can select which company I have here. Or if you have a list of managers that you want to receive this survey, you can do that as well. These are all the managers in the organization. For a particular region, for example, that can be done as well, and so on and so forth. So the participants tab allows you to customize your audience who will be receiving the survey. You have different options to fill this up, send the survey out, and it's all here. Question tab is where you set up your questions, your drivers against your pillars. This is where you'll be able to get the questions that will be included on the survey that your people audience will be answering, and that's where you're going to get the scores from. So let's see how we set that up in EmployeeConnect. Click on the questions button. All right, there's the engagement questions page. We don't have one here listed because this is a new form, but anytime that you're editing an existing survey, you'll see the entire list. You'll see the pillars and the drivers listed here. So for the purposes of this demo, click on the plus button to add a new driver or pillar. Let's customize it. Remember, we had a long list of pillars available on the previous page, the pillars page, and we've added a new one. We should see that here. We can pick that and then input a question against that one and then set it up on how it appears on the survey. So the pillars, these are all that we have here. What pillar do you want it to go against? Let's see. This is the one that we just set up. Driver. What driver would that be? Hmm. And then your question. This can be anything really. Configure it to match the details and the requirements of your business if you're doing a specific strategy, aiming to review or get an idea of how they are doing for a specific time, for example, and just make sure that you set up the correct pillar driver and questions against that. And yeah, the option of putting in comments where anyone doing the survey and seeing that question can input something on the text field, and you'll be able to see that on their responses. So number would just be the arrangement on how they will appear in the survey. If you have 10 questions, then you can select which one goes first. Okay, and then when you're done, just click on the save button, save that. Previous table should be updated, and we'll see the pillars and drivers questions we've input. All right, and you can continue to add more, and we'll display our here on the list. So let's just open an existing one so we can see the questions already set up, and we don't have to populate each individual pillar against a question. Let's go back into survey setup and pick an existing survey. Let's get this one. See the questions listed here? Just clicked on the questions button. So we'll just go directly into that tab we were earlier and see these settings. All right, so these are the questions that we have here. See, there's a long list. There's the pillar, the driver, you rate it against, the number, the arrangement of how they come first or how they appear in the survey, and the question. All right, so there's a long list. This is how it will look like if you were able to um, fill up the form with all of those drivers. And again, since we're editing it, you can always add a new one. Okay, let's go back to the survey setup. When you're doing a survey that's similar to an already existing survey, you can just click copy and then copy that survey. Then continue to add or delete any of the questions from there. And that would work for you, so you don't have to make it from scratch every time. You can just facilitate this and then remove and add questions as desired to match your survey requirements. Just remember if you want to use that survey, to make sure that it is enabled by hitting this setting right here, this tick box. Make sure that it's set to true. Okay, let's see how this works. So I'm going to change the name. This will make it easier for you to set up your survey if you're doing lots of it. Essentially helping you to not create one from scratch. Okay, so that has been saved. So remember the name, go back to survey setup and look for the engagement 2019, copy, and let's look at the questions. All right, so I'm clicking on the questions tab. Directly takes me to the questions page, and this is the list. I can just hit the edit button. Okay, this is taking quite a while. But yeah, you can just click the edit button and then delete this question if you don't need it. Right? You can modify the pillar, change the driver, change the question, and then save it. All right, now see it updated. So you can trim this down, you can add more, depends on what you like. Let's now view the engagement dashboard. Navigate through. Let's now see the engagement dashboard. Click engagement on the side menu and click engagement dashboard. The engagement dashboard shows you the consolidated view of all your engagement scores. So what we see here is the engagement score. This is your average, sent, and then the response rate. Sent would be the number of questions you've sent multiplied by the number of people who've answered the survey. So this is a tool, and then their response rate. Pillar average will show you the scores for each of the individual pillar that you've set up for your engagement survey. So you have the development, alignment, impact, trust, recognition, workplace, empowerment, and happiness. All the scores are listed there, 83%, 74, so on and so forth. And then managers and employees split. If this was set up correctly, I remember we're just on a demo, then you'll be seeing a different split here, and then you'll be doing something different based on the scores that you'll be seeing. So there will be a percentage for the manager score and then another for the employees. And then the engagement history just shows you the scores when you're doing the engagement survey for a month. So they will pulse the scores here, and you'll see a graph going up, percentage, month, then it will be updated. Engagement by org unit, if we have any org unit set up on the demo, you should be able to see it here. And engagement response breakdown will be your scores. Remember, 1 is strongly disagree, and then 5 will be strongly agree. So you'll see the number of 1s, number of 2s, number of 3s, 4s, and 5s listed here, this graph. Now the average by driver. Again, there's the alignment, appreciation, autonomy, the drivers you'd set up on the engagement. You'll see the scores here as well. You can highlight each of any of those tables that will be displayed here, and you'll see the info. Response detail will be similar. These are the responses from all of your correspondents and audience. Scores are listed there as well, and this would be the data.